Yeah, it's been a little while since I uploaded, and I apologize for that, but welcome back to the Road to 2K19 series, everybody. I'm excited to be back on the mic giving you this. You know, life's been crazy. It's been hard to, work on videos, but all that matters is that we have reached 1,000 subs, guys, already. I only started this channel back in early August, and we're already here not too many months later. So a colossal thank you to everybody out there for, doing your thing and supporting these videos. And I'm just going over, what you guys haven't seen since the last episode. We faced UTSA and Lamar, two pretty low prestige teams, took care of business there. Now we're facing VCU once again, and these two teams, us and VCU, have a combined record of 16-1, so you guys know that this is a very big matchup. But anyway, 1,000 subs, everybody. To celebrate, I want to do a Q&A, so listen up, everybody. I want you guys to leave down any question. I'll answer anything you guys want. I'll have a separate video answering all of your questions. Leave them down in the comments, because I'm really excited to see what you guys ask, and so you guys, know a little bit more about me, because, I still haven't done a face reveal, and I've never really, went in depth about anything outside of YouTube. So I'd love to be a part of it. It could be a lot of fun, and seeing the engagement is really one of the most fulfilling things, in my opinion, about YouTube. Just seeing your guys' comments, not just talking to me, but talking with amongst you guys about your opinions of the series. As you can see, I'm #1 in the NCAA in assists per game, #2 in steals. But this episode, I got a lot of packed content here for you. And here in the Big 12, you guys see I am also holding my own when it comes to scoring the rock. I'm 9th in the Big 12 in points per game, sitting at about 13 right now. And so I've shown that I can be good in both assets on offense. I'm very versatile, and I think NBA scouts will really appreciate to see that. I'm also, of course, leading the Big 12 in assists and steals, but that was expected. Anyway, let's get into this VCU game. We handed the Rams a early exit from March Madness last year. Of course, we beat them in a tight contest back in the Sweet 16 of the March Madness in my freshman year. That game, Zaire Hicks was very impressive. He was a handful to deal with, but they've lost a couple guys. They've lost Phil Brower, but Zaire Hicks is still on the team, so he will definitely be just as strong, if not even better, than he was last year. So I'll have to keep my eye on him at all times, because of course Zaire Hicks is one of the most experienced, one of the best passers in all of the NCAA. I almost said NBA. So of course it's going to be a very fun matchup between me and Zaire. All game long we're going to be going at it just like we were last year. Things would get out on a bit of a slow pace offensively for us speaking. You see we're rocking our black alternates. I get a step on Hicks and I kick it out to Mitchell Drew, fading away off that back foot. That was a pretty mean fadeaway, and shots like that can definitely get the momentum turning in your favor whenever you're struggling. Ball reversal. Baseline, no good, but we have trouble closing down the paint early on in this game. I get the block on their center, but that sums up the early goings of this contest for me. I get the block, but they still regain possession, and they put it in. And a cross and a dunk. I put the move on Hicks, got a step, help side came, and that left Anaganye wide open. And on both sides of the ball, we're starting to pick it up. A charge goes to Isaac Ashley, and look at Aaron Catley going up. It doesn't matter what class you're in, whether you're a freshman or a senior, no matter your skin color, where you're from, we're in a family-oriented atmosphere here at Texas, which is one of the reasons why I love it here. Even whenever it was, we had some struggles early on in my freshman year, I still stuck with it, and it's paying off in a big way as we're still undefeated. But in this first half, I had some trouble. Only 2 points, 2 assists to my name. It's a pretty ugly game overall for us. We're down by 6. So what we need to do is we need to go out and get some early baskets in transition. And I get us started here. Our first offensive possession ends in a layup as I put that underneath. And we cut the lead to 1. What's one possession? And the shot from the baseline would rim out. Moving it up the floor, we try to run again. As you all know, VCU's half-court defense can be very stingy, very tough, and very explosive at times. So the best way to combat that is to get out and run in transition, and that's what we've been doing here in the second half, which is why we hold a 2-point lead, make that a 4-point lead off of this layup. Defense was all over me there, but I get crafty, keeping him on my back hip, making sure #1, their center inside, cannot contest or block that layup. And I see Isaac Ashley has some positioning inside as well. as we move along in this game. VCU and Texas, just like last year in the tournament, a very neck-and-neck game, as it seems like no matter what ranking we are, or what ranking VCU is, no matter what time of the year we play each other, it could be March Madness or regular season, it's always an exciting ball game. And that trend is keeping up in this game. Give and go action, and I get crafty on the inside. Little pass fake, Zaire Hicks bites on it, and he gives me all the space I need to drive right past him and put in that layup. 3 minutes to go now. Still, we have the lead, but it's a very minuscule lead at that. And I want the isolation. Putting on the moves. I cross over, step back, fade away over 2 defenders, getting crafty. As you thought Mitchell Drew's fadeaway from the first possession of the game was good, how about this one? I was never much of an iso ball player growing up. Of course, you guys know I'm a pass-first point guard, but it's plays like that that can show I can do both. And I try to beat the 2-3 zone, cutting to the elbow and trying to make that jump shot, but it would just fall short. And now VCU is on the attack. A 3 could tie it up here. I try to help out, but somehow Watad gets wide open. Nobody even on that side of the court for our defense. So now we're knotted up at 59 as we have 70 seconds left to go in the game. See, I got the big man on me. I want to ISO. I take him baseline. He hits my arm. Looked like a clean block, but if you look closely, he definitely hacked me. So I'm stepping to the line with 2 clutch free throws. 3 dribbles, and this place is going bananas trying to get me out of my rhythm. But unfortunately, their attempts would be in vain. As I knock down the first one, I get some dap from my teammates, and I set my feet, trying to make it 2 of 2 here, as we need all the points that we can get against this team, and that I do. Schedule's going to pick up here in the later parts of the season. Of course, conference play coming back soon, and games like this could prep us for that, but it's been no different, even in the clutch situation. Zaire Hicks and I going back and forth. As Hicks ties up the game, Mitchell Drew, the magic man. Anytime we need a basket, he's the go-to player. Just like last year, we find ourselves in a very similar situation. 1 stop is all we need. Can we get that stop? We're up by 2 with 1 possession to go in the ball game. Hicks was not the hero last year. He tries again. No, he gives up to Macklin, the freshman center. And it rims out. I really thought Hicks was going to take that because he took the game-winning attempt last year. But instead, he dishes it over to the freshman center on VCU, Macklin, who was very good today. I'll give him that. But that will fall short. And just like that, our undefeated ways continue to thrive. As we improve to 7-0 now, still only 3rd in the nation, despite defeating Duke. And I told you guys last episode that we would check out Michigan State. Because remember, we should have been ahead of them, right? Well, that game against Tennessee, they beat them by over 40 points. So maybe Michigan State is legit. I've maybe jumped the gun on them a little bit. Maybe they do deserve this top ranking. But I'd love to get these guys in the tournament or something to see just how legit they really are. Moving on, now we have a game against Oklahoma to begin Big 12 play. Definitely no cupcake here to start conference intermission. But hey, we'll see what we can do against the Sooners. And I always like playing this game because they call it the Red River Shootout. But man, every time we play Oklahoma, it seems it's always a grit and grind, grind it out type game. So it'll be tough. But of course, we'll just try our best to remain undefeated. But on the plane, it was weird. You see, our normal rotation has Drew at the shooting guard, but the day before we left on the plane to go to Oklahoma, Mitchell Drew was not traveling with the team. We had a practice before we went off to Oklahoma, but he wasn't there. It was really Kately in a spot. It looks like Aaron Kately's going to start because Shaka Smart's being very quiet about the whole Mitchell Drew situation. So of course you see, normally our overall this year has been around 87, 88, but without Mitchell Drew in the starting lineup, we're down to an 85, making this game a lot more close on paper. So of course that always worries me because Oklahoma stole a game from us last year whenever we were heavy favorites. And of course I have to guard the always dangerous Jared Cordova. He's got a very lethal outside shot and can do different things on defense and is very dangerous on both sides of the ball. I'm not even going to lie, he got a lot of me this game. He was very good, and he's a tough guy to stop. You know, he got one up on me, I'll admit that, as you'll see. I'll see, even on this possession right here, off the inbound, he just slips out of my grasp for 1 second. I get stuck behind my defender, my fellow Texas teammate, and Cordova splashes it in both of our faces. One possession game, and I get past Cordova trying to return the favor, and I do. I get fouled, but to truly return the favor, to truly get back at him, I gotta step to the line and make some free throws. Maybe I can cancel out that jump shot he hit on us from the free throw line. But this free throw would rim in, sinking through the bottom of the net. Going 2 of 2, of course, tie the game here. Only a minute and a half into the game, so plenty of time to play, but I can't let Cordova get one up on me, making 2 of 2 there. Now it's a 5-0 run for the Sooners, as it's now 9-4. Cordova pressuring me on the top of the key. I see Deshaun. He's been doing some post work early on. Both of his baskets have been successful from just underneath the basket. Good ball movement for us on offense, as Deshaun out to Saunders, and I find myself open. This one will sink off the back of the rim and in. So we finally have our first lead of the ball game. Tipped by Deshaun, stolen by me, and I'm taking this one all the way, getting hacked from behind hard. Of course, that's to be expected against these guys. But I don't know how I missed that one. That one felt good out of the hand, but sometimes the rim just goes against you, so I just got to make the next one, right? Well, this one would not even be close. Don't know what was wrong with me, but as you'll see, these next couple games in this episode, I struggled from the free throw line. Very uncharacteristic, but you guys will see. But Aaron Catley knocking that one down, doing his best Mitchell Drew impression as he sinks that one with a hand in his face. Running our pick and screen away offense. You guys know we've been running this since last year. That one will just rattle in, as that is 6 early points for me. Now we're going to go all the way down to the climax of the first half. Deshaun turns it over. Out on the break is Jared Cordova. Look where he pulls out from. The Sooners went on a little run there at the end of the half, and it was tough to keep up without having Mitchell Drew in the starting 5. So we're going to go into the halftime with a 7-point deficit staring us right in the eyes, and it's going to be tough to combat this without our top scorer. Our defense has been okay, but shooting under 50% is not something you see very much from us. Also 5 turnovers as a team. We need to clean it up in many different aspects. I have 6 and 4 to my name, 2 steals. And resuming, Oklahoma scores in their first possession, but I come out firing here early, driving baseline, throwing it over to Catley, as he had a pretty decent first half. Not just on the offensive side of the ball, but he did well defense. He did a lot of little things. But look at Jared Cordova making that shot by Catley totally irrelevant as the lead goes back up to 9. Saunders is flashing. Deshaun is faking, cutting, giving it out to me. Bang from 3. 6-point game now. I haven't been as successful from 3 this year as I was last year. But speaking of threes, Catley straight away knocking that one down. 12 points, as he already has 7 of his 12 here in the second half. Look at Catley coming off the screen now. Look at Aaron Catley turning some heads, as I already have 7 assists in the ball game thanks to Aaron Catley. As he's pumped up, he's fired. I've said a couple times early on this season that I'd love to see Catley in the starting lineup. It's just we're so deep, as he scores a layup too. We're just so deep at the guard position in the starting 5. But off the bench, our best guard other than Catley would be Dion Marshall, right, the freshman. I almost forgot about him. And he hasn't really played much at all this season, so we need Catley off the bench. But this game, it was just a requirement. Deshaun hesitates there, but he still knocks down that 3-point shot. We had some trouble hitting from outside in the first half, but that's really been our bread and butter. Our primary scoring option would probably be a better way to put that, as we prove that we can not only score from 3, but you see Robert Saunders knocking down the mid-range as well, as I'm in double-digit assists, 11 to be specific. A good contest there as we're running the break, crossover. I take it, and I get hacked on that layup. Almost an and one. That would have been a crazy one at that. Of course, the Boomer Sooner Nation getting loud as they have a chance to knock off the #3 team in the nation. I don't know too many teams fans that wouldn't be pumped up in this situation. But of course I miss another free throw. I don't know what's been going on with me this episode, but that one would rim out. Albert Ford having my back though. Speaking of Albert Ford, he crosses over the defense, but look at that hack. Man, things getting a little chippy here at the end of the game. 5 minutes left to go. This tends to happen in this Texas and Oklahoma rivalry. All-time, Texas is 54-39. That's their all-time record against the Sooners. So we lead. And Albert Ford, you guys already know, he's 6'6", 235 of all muscles. So, you guys know he had to get hacked hard just for him to hit the ground that hard. But I set a good screen for Gagne with an impressive finish from pretty far out, too. The level of difficulty on that layup, the video did not do that justice. Big shot right there by Moses. And we get a stop here. Aaron Catley taking it all the way, and we're kind of turning the tables there a little bit. Catley assisting to me for a change, as there's my 11th and 12th points of the game. Quick pick and roll with me and Gagne, and you guys know that is money in the bank as he flushes down another one off that screen. 66 all here, as look at this pass. But Catley finally missing a basket, and it comes at the worst time off the worst shot that he could have missed. Deshaun trying to chase down Lawrence Massey, but he's just a bit too late to get that chase down block. Massey scores the layup, plus he gets the hoop in the harm, so he'll get a chance here from the charity stripe as well. That one will rim in, as Massey's been always a deadly shooter, always a tough guy to guard in every game that we've played against Oklahoma. But coming back fast, that is us right now. Deshaun pulling up from mid-range as he gets his revenge. But Deshaun would not stop there, not by any means, as you'll see later on. Jared Cordova getting a step on me. Once again, this episode my defense has just not been up to par. 20 points for Cordova, as it's a 3-point game now. We can't keep trading baskets. Deshaun says, hey, let me take it into my own hands, tying up this ball game. Deshaun with one of the biggest shots that anybody's hit, any character's hit in my Road to 2K19 series so far. Just a degree of difficulty, unbelievable right there. Deshaun with ice in his veins, but we're not done there. 5 seconds. Lawrence Massey for the win. That one would just be off the front rim. I tried from half court, but Cordova knocks it away. He almost actually makes that half court shot. Wow, that would have been something else, wouldn't it? But 71 all. This series gets just a little bit more intense, just a little bit more bad blood, as this has been an intense, hard-hitting, hard-fought game. And Gagne normally wins jump balls, and this one's no exception. Coming out fast, a quick screen from Gagne. Look at me lifting off. Look at me going up, flushing it with 2 hands. Vertical is getting up there. My eyes were almost at the rim at that one. I was almost looking into the rim. My vertical was just continuously on an upward trend. And now look at Deshaun. Oh man, he's been great today. Christian, 23. Another stop here on defense. We're up by 1. We're starting to take our time a little bit now. On this possession, they're coming out in a 2-3 zone, and I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, especially whenever Deshaun's as hot as he is. I tie my career high in assists, as now I have 15. I try the sham dot on Cordova, which gives me a little bit of space, but the help defense comes. Mendoza comes over and blocks it, knocks it out of my hands, and this will lead to a layup for Lawrence Massey. A bad shot selection, that's all it really was. Shouldn't have taken that there, as that'll lead to Oklahoma gaining their first overtime lead of the ball game, as they're up 79-78. Deshaun will try to isolate, and he takes it all the way. A deadly behind the back move, as we find ourselves in the situation for the 3rd time in this episode already. The situation of we have the lead, shot clock's turned off, we need one more stop to come out victorious. Cordova tries to cross over. Lawrence Massey left wide open, but Catley and the Texas Longhorns, we all catch a break on that one, as our undefeated season remains intact. We come in here and we defeat our heated rivals. And look at the stat line Deshaun Christian is putting up. In one of the biggest games of our season so far, he puts up 28. as his draft stock continues to rise. I'd say Christian is probably slotted as a top 5 to top 7 pick right now in the draft, and I'm flirting with the first round, but I'm right now slotted at about the early second round, so we'll see. But apparently Mitchell Drew will be back for the next game, as Shaka Smart decided to actually suspend Mitchell Drew. I really need to get a hold on Drew because he's just not been himself this year. Apparently he was out partying the night before by himself before we went off to the Oklahoma game. Can you guys believe that? Jeez, man, we really need to fix out and iron out Mitchell Drew's issues, but it's good to see him back in this game. Hopefully this will get him settled. But man, that was just really hard to hear that. And apparently Shaka Smart decided to suspend him for 1 game. So that solves that mystery. Hopefully we can all just put that behind us, as I'm going to try to go as quick as I can here in the Missouri game. As here in the first half, I was good passing like I always am. I brought the assisting like I always do, but my offensive game was a little lacking. And Missouri hung around with us in the first half. I'll definitely admit that. You see, I'm about a minute remaining. It's a 3-point game, and how about this fadeaway shot right here? That was definitely a shot. It looked like one of those jump shots I'd hit on the park growing up. Now it's a 5-point game. Out to Anaganya, a little give and go action as I take it all the way, floating it over the defense. Only 6 points for me in here in the first half, but you'll see in the second half the type of game I'd finish with, and you guys are going to love the second half. And as I get it started right here, making the lead up to 9, scoring more points in the isolation. Now this one would kind of be some isolation. 2-3 zone, leaving me wide open at the top of the key. They were looking for that pass, so I just decided to say, hey, why not let it fly, right? Now the lead is up to 10, and Iganye with 12 rebounds already. I take this one all the way. Already 10 points in the first 4 and some change minutes of the second half. But of course, scoring will not be the only thing I bring to the table. I bring the little things, including diving on the floor for loose change. You guys already know what I'm about. It's about the little things too, if I want to get drafted. So it leads up to double digits now. 5:40 left in the ball game as Missouri's hanging around, but we need to create some breathing room between us and them. Big man on me once again, and this one's just too easy. How about that move right there? If I want to put the momentum back in our favor, how about an ankle-breaking crossover move to pull up? How about that one? That one will definitely shift the momentum in our favor. I had him a little bit initially with the crossover, but it was really whenever I put my back foot in the ground and I exploded to mid-range, creating plenty of space, all of the space I could ever need. And you can see I had Albert Ford's jaw drop in right there. I dish it into Saunders, and I'm going to leave a poll in the top right. Which move do you like better? Do you like the ankle breaker, or are you in favor of this dime right here? Man, this one was Jason Williams-esque indeed, looking like white chocolate. Boom. Just a little flick of the wrist. That one's a tough call. Whether you guys like the... I'm actually interested to see what you guys say. The ankle breaker or that dish that might be the best assist of my college career. Can't wait to see what you guys say in the polls in the top right. And in the end, after a buzzer beater jump shot, we would still take the win by double digits. 19 points, 6 assists, no steals, but a very efficient shooting percentage. Only 2 of 4 from the free throw line though. I really need to get my free throws sorted out. And next up we had a game against Texas A&M that went, it was pretty easy. But unfortunately, for the first time in my college career, I unfortunately sustained an injury after this hop step right here. I just planted into the ground and immediately I felt something, just give away in my right leg. And I actually finished the game against Texas A&M, but I had to hop around gingerly, and you'll see right here on the press my matchup just blowing right by me. So whenever Shaka Smart saw that, he knows how good of a defender I am. So when he sees me not sliding my feet and reaching and not being the low man, because we all know the low man wins in basketball, he knew it was time to take me out and get an MRI immediately on what happened. And like I said before, yes, I've had an injury before. Not in my college career, but as you'll see, in my high school career, before I even started writing down my story and all that. 18-6 though, I still played well, but the diagnosis would be a pulled hamstring. Doctor said I would have to deal with this for the next 2 weeks. And, after I got home from the doctor, after we got off the plane from being in College Station back to our campus in Austin, I was in my dorm room just resting up, and I started to reminisce a little bit. If you guys remember, in the second video of this entire series, you'll remember me saying this right here. Let's roll the tape. And I find my teammate who ends up getting fouled. You may be wondering why I have a wrist wrap and a knee sleeve I always play with, but I think I'll save that story for the next episode of the series. Don't think I'm ready to talk about that just yet. It can be tough on your psyche at times whenever you're going to college down here in Texas, but your hometown is all the way up in Brooklyn, over 1,000 miles away, so reminiscing can be your best friend sometimes. And if you guys remember, in the very first episode of the series, I used to get up at 5 a.m., get on my skateboard and ride to the park before the rest of the kids got there. So yeah, growing up, before I was a basketball player, skateboarding was actually my favorite hobby, as you can, tell me going to the park every day using my skateboard before I could drive. This was actually my sophomore year in high school, and I used to take skateboarding so much more serious, because before basketball came around, I thought I wanted to be a pro skater. It's crazy how things change, right? And Ferran was always big on cameras growing up. He was always big on vlogging, so you guys already know he had no problem with following me around with his camera. And we always had one spot in particular we liked, this little, patch of concrete. You might not think too much of it yet, but we used to go all around town just finding different items that nobody was using, bringing it to the spot, and being innovative. Sorry about this little tangent I'm going on, but whenever you're, 1,000 miles away from home at least, sometimes you just get a little homesick and you get caught in your mind and you reminisce a lot. Once again, in the first episode, you guys saw me and Ferran 1v1 a lot on the court, but off the court, you could say Donovan and I 1v1 a lot skateboarding. Here's some clips of him too. Growing up, he was always fond of skateboarding as well. He was about 6'6" in his senior year, and this was before his big growth spurt. This was sophomore year. He was only about 6'2" at the time, so it was a lot more easy for him to skateboard. And Ferran, great job on the camera work. Still to this day, it holds up well. But here we go, finally to the climax of the story. In this little patch of concrete where we used to find stuff, at the end there was this little gap that I always wanted to hit, and it wasn't little. I shouldn't call it little, but since I made it out fine, I guess I can laugh about this now, and I'll keep the upbeat music going. I tried to gap it one day, and that's the moment right there where I knew I messed up. Boom, I hit the pavement, and I managed to mess myself up. I sprained my MCL, broke my wrist, so ever since then, now whenever I take the court and I suit up, I always got to have a protective wrist wrap and a knee sleeve that I always wear. So there you go, a little bit more about me. So this pulled hamstring actually is not my first injury. And speaking of the hamstring, it kind of made me impaired for a little bit now. See, I'm not as fast, my vertical's not as high, and my shooting stats are taking a hit too, especially my defense. It's down to an 81 on ball defense. Normally it's in the high 80s. But one more check into my stats. My scoring's gone up, but my assisting has gone down a little bit. Still, I'm averaging a double-double. Shooting percentages down from last year, but that makes more sense as I'm getting more volume than I did last year. And I guess we'll end this episode with one last hurrah against Texas Tech. They don't have Jason Valencia this year. He graduated to go into the NBA. But hey, they're still a tough, formidable opponent. But at least we get this game at home, so it should be a little bit more manageable. But here we go. Immediately it was tough to get around the court, as there was times where I'd plant, cut, and move where I would feel it. I'd feel that hamstring. But look at this dish. Starting out the game, Mitchell Drew. You see only 7 points combined for the two teams, almost 5 minutes into the ball game. This was a bit of a grinded out type game, similar to Oklahoma, and it can be tough to play games like that back to back, but look at this pass. These are the type of passes that'll put me on the map. Just trusting my teammates. I saw Deshaun cutting. It was a risky dime, but I just trust Deshaun, and he makes it worthwhile. And now I hit Robert Saunders on a cut perfectly as he puts in the end one. Scoring is starting to pick up a little bit, but you see I get subbed out here early as they're trying to limit my minutes, and I get subbed back in here short time later. Screen from Ashley, and I take this one all the way for my first basket of the game, 10 minutes in. Normally it doesn't take me that long to get my name on the board, but it's a little tough. And of course, I'm just a little too slow in the blocking foul. It seems like my lack of speed there and my lack of agility because of my hamstring kind of made the difference there. Maybe if I was 100% healthy, that would have been a charge. Good defense here as I get the steal, my first of the game, and I take this one all the way, fighting through the contact. Mario Sims, good defense, but unfortunately for him, I put it right over top of him. Screen from Ashley, and this one, I can't elevate very high off the ground, but I get creative and I flick it up as fast as can be. Look at that. Look how quick that trigger finger was. I can't, rise up and jump as high, so I had to get creative. But look at this shot right here by the Texas A&M guard. 31 all, but what a way to end the first half. Deshaun moving without the ball. Gets the shot up just in time. NBA type range right there. He's showing off for the Scouts. 34-31. What an explosive way to end the first quarter of action. Looking at the stats, I'm not doing too bad. 6 points and 4 assists in the first half with a bum leg is nothing to be, nothing to be upset about as I'm holding my own, I should say. 7-point game now. The give is to Deshaun. How about this move? Shaking 2 defenders, with one with the pump, another with the half spin. And now we also get a steal. Deshaun doing both sides of the basketball, leading into another dime to Mitchell Drew. How about this one? Boom, just firing that pass in there. It leads up to 13 now as we're making quick work of these Red Raiders. As good ball movement here, leading Anna Gagne perfectly to the rim. That's really when the game was out of reach. It would be a 73-61 ball game. Texas A&M made it a little close at the end, but I finished with 9 points, 8 assists. Playing hurt, so it was a little tough. 4 of 11 from the field. Not my best game, but I held my own, and I was the main contributor when it came to playmaking. Well, this episode was definitely a roller coaster ride, but thank you guys for stopping by. And my stats on the year, still number 1 in the NCAA with over almost 10 assists a night. With my 15 assist outing against Oklahoma, that shot up 14 points per game, trending upward in both areas, which is exactly what you want to see. Next up, we're going to have a matchup against another Texas team, 3 in a row. We had a game against A&M, then Texas Tech, and now we're facing the Baylor Bears. So, a lot of in-state rivals we've been playing recently, and this one might be our toughest of the 3, as these Bears are ranked in the top 25. Stay tuned, as in the next episode, we continue to grind through this sophomore year to try to make the NBA. I'm going to try to get through the sophomore year faster than I did the freshman year, as we're already about halfway through the season. Stay tuned.